My name is Kayla Patton, and I will be teaching you guys how to make a buffalo chicken pasta. It is very easy to make. It, in my opinion, is very delicious. Um, so if you like pasta and spicy-ish stuff, you can pick and choose how spicy you want it. But basically, if you like pasta and chicken, you will love this dish. So really, all you need is any type of pasta, but I prefer to use penne noodles, and then you will need 1 or 2 boxes depending on how much you make. I have a big family, so I usually make 2 boxes, and then 1 or 2 blocks of cream cheese, again depending on how much you're making of it. And then same goes for shredded cheese. I use mozzarella and Mexican style, but again with that you can use any kind of cheese that you want. It's not specific to like the dish. You can use whatever you like. But I get a bag of each, but if you are only making 1 serving size, or not 1 serving size, but 1 pan of it, then you would only need a half a bag of each. And then a cup of ranch, and then a 4th cup of buffalo chicken sauce. And personally, I only do a 4th a cup because a lot of people in my family don't love spice, so I just add a lot at the end for taste. I also cook my chicken first, and I season that very well. I usually just cut it up into small cubes and cook it on the stove top, and I season it with any seasonings I'm feeling that day. Sometimes I kind of just randomly pick out of my spice cabinet to see what I would like to use. But you can truly just use whatever you normally use, or if you don't want to season it, that is also fine. It's not like a requirement. And then make sure that your pasta is cooked fully. For the chicken, you can also use just like pre-made rotisserie chicken. I just personally like making my chicken better. After you have the noodles cooked and your chicken cooked, whether you're using pre-cooked or you cook it yourself, you will take your ranch, which you will need a cup of. You will take your buffalo sauce, which you'll need a 4th a cup of, depending on how spicy that you want it, and your cheese and your cream cheese. And how I personally like to do it is I have a Ninja blender that has a food attachment. I like to put all of those ingredients into my blender and mix them that way. Once those are mixed very well together, I like to put my chicken in there as well to kind of shred it up and kind of make sure everything is evenly combined. But again, as far as the blender goes, it is not a requirement at all. But if you're not using that and want your chicken shredded and you cook your chicken yourself, I would recommend like peeling it apart and making sure they're small enough, because I personally don't like big chunks. I like it to be evenly in the entire dish. And then once you are done kind of mixing that together, I like to go ahead and preheat my oven. I usually do about 350 degrees. And then after we get all of that settled, I like to take a really big bowl, or sometimes I even use the pot that I use to cook my noodles in. Have my noodles strained and ready to go, and I take that mixture with all of my ingredients and my chicken in it, and I like to put all of that in with my noodles, and I like to mix it around very, very well. You don't want any dry noodles, because then you're going to have dry spots in your dish, and that is not going to taste very well, not being spread out evenly. And then I really like to spread it out evenly in a big baking pan. Usually mine's about like this thick and this long, and if you have a big enough pan, even making 2 boxes of noodles, it will fit all of it in here, which I really like, because then I'm not having to mess around with multiple dishes. And then after we do all of that, I like to put more shredded cheese on top. That way there's like a baked cheese layer. And then after that, we pop it in the oven for about 5 minutes. It really just depends on how hot your oven gets, because really we're only putting it in the oven to be able to have the cheese melt. And then once that timer goes off and your cheese is all melted, you can take it out. And usually it is very hot, no matter if it's in there for only 3 to 5 minutes or however long you have it in there, it is very hot. So I tend to let that cool while I get out my dishes and my silverware and what I will serve with, which I really like serving with a big like serving spoon or a spatula, because that's easiest to get out of the dish. And then once I have all of that set up, then I start serving dishes. And like I said prior, I really like putting a lot of extra buffalo sauce on top of mine because I am a really big fan of spice, but that is totally optional. And this is very easy to do. Like, you can add sour cream to it, or you can put extra ranch on top. You kind of just make it your own. It's not specific to, oh, you have to do this. It's a very versatile dish. As well as if you don't want to put the buffalo sauce in there at all, I have made it that way and it is still very delicious. So this is just a very easy, quick meal to make, and I personally love it, and so does my family. I've also meal prepped this meal, so you can make everything, put it in your dish, pop it in the fridge, leave it there, and it will be good for up to a week. And then once you're ready to make it, you can throw it in the oven, heat it up, melt the cheese on the top, and you can have that for dinner, and it'll be super quick and easy. And it is definitely one of our favorites.